All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Off the Tools podcast with Jimmy Hong, Joshua Grudemore. Today, we're going to be diving into a little bit about client success and just kind of like what that looks like on the job site and off of the job site. So, Jimmy, what is client success to you? What do you think?
Yeah, man. I think when running our business, client success started not even, I feel like at times when I first started, it was like, okay, as soon as I start this project, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
now it starts. No, like as I started growing my business, it was like, no, client success started the first contact, first phone
Mm,
call, first email, first like outreach or them reaching out. It's like first impressions last, right? Like it's literally
hmm
cliche for a reason. So it's like taking care of the client right from the beginning.
hmm
And honestly, if you're doing it right, it doesn't end, right? Like after you're done the painting project, it's not like, oh, that's it. See ya. No, it's like you're still gonna take care of them. Like I've sent clients pumpkins during like Halloween, like thank you
hmm
cards, things like that for Christmas. And it's ongoing, right? Because it's
hmm
literally a relationship that we're building. And I always took it as like, hey, we're friends. I feel I've met your family, I've met you guys. I love working with you guys. It doesn't just end just because the brush is, put down now. So it's a whole
hmm
process. It's always ongoing. That's what I think client success is.
Yeah, we were in a conference call, I think, this week, and a guy was talking about rapport. Remember that? And
Yeah.
he said, I asked a question. I'm like, okay, some people think like when we're talking about sales, rapport should be something at the beginning, and then it's okay, now we're straight to the business. But he said, and I'm sure you remember, he's like, rapport never stops. And rapport is such a great part of client success because it's honestly probably the easiest part of getting the whole picture of what you're going after. Like if you have a relationship with them and you're saying hi to the kids, you're putting a couple jokes out there and then mixing that with good expectation setting, it's like how is your success going to go wrong?
Yep. It's always ongoing, right? So
Hmm. I had so one of my last years running my painting business, we did a job for a lawyer, big shot lawyer. And he was an absolute G, one of the most beautiful houses I've ever been in. Basically looks like a castle. His backyard is a river, which he uses to funnel sprinkler systems for his lawn because he has water rights with his property. And I had a rental car at the time because mine was in the shop and I was in the driveway. And he's like, "I'm gonna get out of here." I'm like, "Okay, you need me to move my car?" He's like, "Nah, I should be good." Goes by and scrapes the side of my rental car, and I could tell he was like absolutely like destroyed. He's like, "Oh my god!" Like, I'm so sorry. Of a lawyer of all things, too, right? Like he
yeah.
knows the implications of this, and I'm looking at it, it's a rental. So I'm like, man, it's not even my car. Like, this is sweet. But I go, hey man, like it's all good. What I'm gonna go do is I'm gonna go home. I got a buffer at home. I'm gonna buff out the scratch and like don't worry about insurance or anything like that. But like this is the least your worries. We're painting your whole house here. I'm gonna take care of this. I go back the next day. Um, and it turns out we were using a boom lift on their house, and there was a sinkhole at the side of the hill, and the
Oh
boom
my
lift
god.
tipped a little bit and scratched the side of their stucco. Now, guy comes out, but here's the thing. We're one for one, buddy. We're one for one. And my point is we ended up fixing the stucco. Stucco repair is pretty fucking easy. It's not the end of the world. We were painting the side of the house anyway, so we had the paint for it. So it was like whatever. But if the goodwill and actually rooting for the client success, not even just on the project, but outside of the project, wasn't there from the start when I said, "Hey, buddy, don't worry about it." I could have very easily said, "Give me your insurance papers. Like, let's get this all taken care of."
Hmm.
Guess what? He'd probably do the same for me. As soon as I scratch the side of the house with the boomlet. But because I was rooting for him, he was rooting for me.
Wow. There you go. So that's pretty crazy. Like one for one. And it's like to everyone listening, doesn't mean anyone owes you anything. Like because you
Mm-hmm.
decided to, you were that's what you chose, and it came back to you. So
Mm-hmm.
that's props.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's an example of kind of transcending client success and just looking out for them, outside of the business and in the business, even though you're technically in the business. But for you, I mean, obviously, when we're talking about client success, we're talking about a good product, period. Right. So, what was maybe like when you were training your painters, what was sort of like the mindset that you tried to bring them through, or what were they aiming at?
Hmm. Yeah, great question. So training my painters, it was basically with that framework of, hey, treat this as if it was your own house, or it was your mom that you're working for, or like, your family, whoever it is, your grandma, right? You're not just there to just get the work done and just leave and that's it. That just doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
any sense. Like you're there to build a relationship with them. So I wasn't surprised that like the homeowners, they love my painters, right? Like I hired the right ones that would be like talking to them. They would ask questions to the homeowners. They would introduce themselves, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the homeowners, they would know like what their goals were. So they're having this connection, and like, and of course, like all the other things, keeping like it's the little things on top of that too, right? You have your rapport, you have like the relationships, the same things I'm doing, whether I'm like at the doing the estimate or like managing a crew in my first year. But on top of that, with the little things like keeping the job site clean, right? Cleaning it up every single day, and making sure like your painters know the impacts of if it's not, right? Because imagine you're painting for like an elderly lady. If it's not clean, like what are the impacts, right? And how
Mm-hmm.
it's put into the space, and just having that daily communication at the end, right? Like you spoke with them at the beginning, starting the job. Here's the scope of it, and at the end, it's like here's what we got done today, right? If it's a bigger project, and they were just so happy with it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's no miscommunication. It's not like, hey, we're gonna see you like beginning of the project, and then like 7 days later, oh, the project's done, and they're like, oh, and then they're just like, it's all they saw was start at the beginning and then at the end. No, they're like they got the whole process, and the communication to back it up. So
Mm-hmm.
they're always in communication.
When it comes like to client success in general, though, it's like, okay, we're looking at client success, which means if your painters have the skills to do a good job and the mindset to do a good job, they'll probably do a good job. But I think like real client success is not necessarily when the painters are using their skills to the best of their abilities and have a good mindset. Client success is how you handle yourself when stuff goes wrong,
Hmm.
because it's like if a painting project is going good and they're happy with the walls, well, I mean, client success is pretty easy to get to from there.
Hmm.
But it's like when you scratch the wall with the boom lift, it's like, okay, well, this is how we need to turn a tragedy into a success. I remember one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given when it comes to just stuff going wrong on the job site in general is if you're more mad at the issue than they are, they will feel like they're overreacting and you are overreacting, which might seem counterintuitive, but like I remember one time, we were spraying some siding. We got a tiny bit on the vinyl windows. Owner of the house gives me a call. Hey, like, I don't mean to bother you, but a little bit of blue paint on the final window. I go, what on the windows? Are you kidding me? Okay, John, give me a second. I'm gonna be there in 15 minutes. And it's like, even though like they feel almost that negative emotion towards it, this is good because they definitely know they're heard, first of all. And B, they best believe by my reaction, it's going to get taken care of. And did it get taken care of immediately? Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, like what do you think in terms of think about like coming from the client's point of view? Like what do you think that was like for them?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm thinking about the client's point of view, it's like whenever like anything goes wrong, even ever, it's always less about like what's happening on the house or whatever, and way more about if you actually even understand the problem in the first place. like whenever like I hear about any other even painting companies like getting into these things, it's like, man, like 50+% of the time, it just even sounds like they're just not on the same page, you know? So it's like when I'm meeting them, when they tell me there's, paint on the vinyl windows, and I'm going, paint on the vinyl windows, this is unacceptable. They're like, okay, he knows what the problem is. He knows it's not acceptable to both him and if he's coming here, I assume he's got some sort of solution for something, and he's treating me as a priority. How can you be mad at that? We're and then once you frame it this way, it goes back to the whole thing that should be not even just in your personal life, but in your business life of us against the problem. Not us against each other, but us against the problem. And now all of a sudden we're on the same side. And if I can get on the same side as them, I can always find a solution. Always.
Awesome. I love it. Solution aware is always going to be that big player. And you're 100% right. Clients want to be heard. And especially, it's like you're going to go fix it for them, right? I think it's very important to take those problems head on, not only because, like, for the client's sake, but you as a business owner will also grow as well. You don't grow when times are good, you grow when those like one offs or things that come up, problems, things like
Mm-hmm.
that, that's where you grow. And if you can grow, that means you can develop leaders in your business to do the same thing, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it just comes down to making sure they're heard. And if you want to tack on something even more important, obviously, right from the beginning, the expectation setting, right? So
Mm-hmm.
making sure that they understand it's like, hey, this wood on your house is like 30, 40, 50 years old, right? So when we're coming in to stain it or like paint it or whatever it is, it's like this will never look like a brand new piece of wood that you can just go buy at the hardware store because it's just been there for so long. Like we're gonna make it look nice, but at the end of the day, like I'd rather be truthful for you and let you know like this is what I've seen. Right? I'm not gonna promise you,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is gonna look brand new because it's just so old.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you're doing the project, like you show them, right? Like I don't just finish the job. It's like, hey, we did a plank. My painters will go, hey, take a look. This is what it looks like right there. Just to set that expectation, right? And then if something comes up, tackling it head on so that you can just make sure that they're heard and they know that you're on it, and then you create a solution so that they know, wow, okay, this guy knows how to fix this, and he's going to do it, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's done. So
Even from like a sales standpoint, it's okay. So if you take two scenarios, if you take scenario number one, someone wants to lose weight. Okay, Jimmy, I'm going to give you this pill. In 30 days, you're going to lose 50 pounds. Promise. It's going to be great. Or I go, Jimmy, I'm going to give you this pill. It's going to help you lose like 2.5 pounds a month, and 12 months, you're going to see, around like, 24 pounds gone. And it's like, okay, so what's happening psychologically there? It's just more believable. So if I go in to the estimate and I'm looking at their deck and I go, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we got to keep in mind first and foremost here, this is a 6-year-old deck. It's already graying. So if you want it to look like new wood, I got a deck company I can refer you to. However, if we want it to look great and be protected and still keep it around 10, 15 more years, it's like, well, I can help you with that. And just being believable
mm-hmm.
in terms of like your expectation setting also helps you sell the job. And people think like, like, oh, like I really want to talk up the project, like blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, it's not about that. It's about like creating a vision together that both of you can believe.
Yeah, and a great point. Like I firmly believe that you're the expert and you're going to help do what's best for them. Whether it's, you don't hide those options. It's like if you want brand new wood, that's okay, right? Like that you're going to have to rebuild the whole deck. And like you said, if you know like a deck company, you can refer them because it's more about like being truthful and like running a great business over that just trying to get the job, right? It's not about that, right? Because like otherwise they're just going to be upset if you over promise and under deliver that. So, 100%. I was going to ask, like, so let's go into like referrals a little bit. So let's say you finish the job, everything's great. Let's take a look at the after the paint dries. So what does that look like for you?
I think it starts off with like whatever client manual you give them when you enter the job site, because it's like there's so many things that they should be aware of,
Mhm.
because you're ultimately trying to keep their best interest in mind. And I mean, two of those things are tips for painters
Yep.
and some sort of referral program for work. So in my client manual, I had $100 off for every referral you give us that turns into a job. And I had one project ever where I'd give them $300 off. Send me three new jobs. That's an excellent price to pay. $100 for a job.
Easy.
Oh my god. So it's like it really is about planting seeds when it comes to referrals.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, at the beginning of the job site, we're going to go through the client manual really briefly, but we're going to say, hey, we're going to leave this with you just so if you want to skim through it. It's going to say a little bit about us, say a little bit about a referral program, a little bit about a tip program, anything like that. But then at the end of the job, when we're closing stuff up, it's like, hey, did you get a chance to think about anyone that might need work done? We'd love to save you some money. And like, that's the key there, right? It's
Yep.
the, we'd love to save you some money. And truly, you are keeping their best interests in mind, because you can make that scenario a win-win. You can save some money. I can get some more work. Let's ball.
100%. I love that. And especially it's like you did such a great job for them. I think it's our duty to, go help as many people as we can so that they don't have to rely on like some crappier company that's going to mess it up and then they're going to have to spend even more money to have someone else come fix it, which
Mm-hmm.
happens all the time. And I think like it's funny because like everything we talk about, it's always like at the beginning, right? We talk about it during the estimate. We
Mm-hmm.
talk about it when we
Mm-hmm.
set up a job. It's like it's not just like, oh, now we start doing it. No, it's like planting the seeds right from the beginning. And then once like you're almost done, again, you've been planting the seeds. You've been communicating with them every day, cleaning up the project, like making sure they understand what's going on. Everything looks great. How do you feel about it so far? And they're like, yeah, everything looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So by the end of it, what we did was we always like strike when the iron's hot, right? So like typically when I trained my painters was an hour before the job's done. And again we set that expectation at the beginning. We have them start filling out stuff like the reviews. We have them start thinking about the whole package, the tips for the painters. We don't get any of it because it's for them, not for us as the operator or owner. And then they start filling that stuff out ahead of time, right? So then they can do it. You don't have to finish like wait till right till the end. If you don't communicate, then yeah, waiting right till the end, it's like they might be, oh, the job's not done, but they see what you're doing every single day. So you can still make sure that's very important for them. And I think it's very important to talk about like trying to get a 10 out of 10 on every single job and striving for that. And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, like some people, something comes up and you don't get a 10 out of 10. What does that look like? So I had a job. My production manager, absolute amazing human being. We got a 9 out of 10, and one of the things I coached him on was essentially from that framework of making sure, hey, if we don't get a 10 out of 10, we ask questions. We care about your project more than you do, and we want to know, like, okay, if it's not a 10 out of 10, we go through everything, and we're like,
I
hey,
remember when you got that 9 out of 10. By the way.
right? So he was like, I had him go back, talk to the clients, and it's like, hey, thank you for giving us a great rating. We want an amazing, like, we want like the top rating, right? So what can we do to earn that 10 out of 10? We're not there to be like, hey, just give us 10. No, no, it's like, what can we do to earn that 10 out of 10 from 9 out of 10? And then they'll tell you everything, right? And some people, funny enough, hilarious, this came up. Some people just
Nothing's
don't,
perfect.
yeah, nothing's perfect. And some people just
Yeah.
don't give 10 out of 10s, which is like, that's okay. And to me, it was like, yeah, it's a kind of like an objection because you want to educate them, right? It's like, what does a 9 out of 10 do for you? And what is a 10 out of 10, right? If there's nothing else that's needs to be done and everything is perfect, you love it, then you can, it's like asking for the sale again, right? Asking for that 10
Mm-hmm.
out of 10. And yeah, it was funny because like it was a tough conversation for my project manager. This was the first time he had to go do it. And of course, it could have been easier for me to just go do it, but I wanted him to learn from that and develop more into a leader. And then years down the road, when when he was gone and he was doing his own thing, going to vet school, he was telling me all those tough conversations helped him score higher on his exams for vet school. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
That
what do you mean? And he's like, so in vet school, if for all you that don't know, they give you some pretty crazy scenarios.
I bet.
And like they're tough like questions, right? And he was like, man, if I didn't have that experience of having those tough conversations, I would have just been racking my brain like what to say here, how to
Mm-hmm.
answer. And I'll quickly give you an example. It was like, yep, for example, one of the owners are coming to pick up their dog, for example, and your nurse or whoever technician put down the wrong dog. Like questions like that. Like, how do you answer that? And imagine like you've never had a tough conversation, things like that in your life. How do you answer that? You'd be like kind of stressing out. But no, he's used to it. He's had tough
Mm-hmm.
conversations. He's all this. So it was such a cool win. It just made me smile so much like that he was able to get that. And again, just keeping clients happy is what we do, right? By making sure we give them that 10 out of 10, that 11 out of 10 job there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. One of the best tricks that like I created, because you just end up like in your business, you just end up like doing things a little bit differently, like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes here and there, but like doubling down on what's working. What we ended up doing is most painting companies, like when they're done the work, they'll do like a final walk around
Mm-hmm.
with the client. But what we'll do an hour before is we'll call it our final walk around, but we're still painting. So what I'm going to be doing is walking through with them and pointing out the different areas to the painters that still do need touch ups, but them that gets them to know that I'm looking,
Yep.
like just showing them that I'm looking. And then at the end, when we are actually done, hey, Mr. and Miss Smith, I just want to show you the project might come with me. And then that final walk around is not them pointing out spots anymore. Now it's me pointing out spots, directing the conversation and the attention to. So that place was fixed up. This place needed a little more putties. We put some more in. This was a little thin over here, so made sure to do that. But now, step back, look at it. It's great.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, like clients want to see you care too. And
Mm-hmm.
you can pass that on to your painters. You teach them, right? You can pay them more to become more of a crew chief, to have those conversations, to keep clients happy. And essentially, yeah, they want to make sure that again, you know what you're talking about and that you care about their project at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was gonna ask too, like in terms of, think of like asking reviews like the right way. Things like um focusing on like Google reviews, Facebook. Like, can you kind of talk about like why that's so important, even into like moving into their marketing? Like some companies do such great jobs, but they don't have like any reviews on Google or Facebook. How do you think
Mm-hmm.
that impacts their marketing? If you want to talk about that a little.
Man, it's super weird because there are legitimately $1 million businesses that have like little to no reviews, and it baffles my mind. And it speaks to the power of word of mouth. It speaks to the
Hmm.
power of just doing a good job. But it's like, hey, for a second, imagine you were doing all of that and getting some sort of social credibility out there. What would this compound into? Right. So it's like we recently started working with a tile company in Peterborough, and they have 76 5-star Google reviews. And best believe every single time we post a Facebook ad, it's just this person, that person, this person saying, these people did an amazing job. You guys should definitely hire them. And it's just so crazy what that does, right? Because it's like, okay, now you have social proof on your advertisement. And by the way, positive social proof on advertisement, hard to come by. Hard to come
Yeah.
by. Everyone wants to put in their 2 cents. But if you do have good social proof, it's like, oh my God, what an amazing effect that has on it. And then even furthermore, now you have some sort of like way in your sales as well to be like, hey, we have 76 5-star Google reviews. Why would you not trust us? Right? Because I feel like that's a huge one when it comes to contractors just in general.
Yeah.
I mean, reviews and marketing, I mean, they're two sides of the same coin, truly. They work so in tandem together. It's
Hmm.
insane. But like moving it forward, you know, You have your marketing, which turns into a sale turns into production. But once you're in the sale, it's like, man, if you have that sort of proof behind you, who could say no? Especially compared to somebody with like no reviews, right? It's like, okay, who do you pick, right? Comparable prices, 76 reviews, 5 reviews. Huh. 76 it is.
100%, man. And I see it as such a big weakness in the industry, like people that just
Yep.
don't have like a system or something around getting reviews, and they think like, oh, on to the next job. But it's like, man, your Facebook ad and your Google, it's like the more reviews you have, the more like when people go through, what do? They want to go see your page. They want to see like what other people are talking about. It's like going on Amazon and buying something. I want to go see what people are saying. If it
Yep.
says anything less than like 3 stars like on Amazon, I'm like, no, I'm not down.
Even four
Even
stars,
four,
really.
under four. It's like if it's 4.7, I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. Like, and that's fine. Right. I remember I had a client, and she's such a sweetheart, one of my favorite clients. Anytime I posted anything, she was like a raving fan. And she would just always comment, always recommend us, give us referrals, and it would show. And it was such a good feeling to take care of her. And then she was taking care of us online too. So people that were on the fence, they'd be like, no, like hire Jimmy. Like he will take care of you and make sure he goes above and beyond. What a great
Mm-hmm.
way to boost like your like online presence. And it was one client that just loved us.
Mm-hmm.
What a great way to do that.
100%. And on top of that, it's like, I feel like what a lot of people miss, even in this industry, is some sort of fulfillment. And it's because they're just slapping out jobs for money. It's like, if you can get those raving fans, if you can get people that appreciate you, it's like, this is also how you find fulfillment in life, doing something like this in a super noble cause, which is, building the infrastructure of the world. But Jimmy, I think that's our time here.
It is.
Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you want to potentially talk to us about what it might be like to, embark on some sort of marketing adventure with us, or, just want to learn more, we'll definitely have some links in the bottom of the video here. Jimmy, any last words?
Get reviews. Don't skip on them.
Get reviews, don't skip on them. And we'll see you in the next. See you guys.
Cheers, guys. Boom.